Hello, everybody, and welcome back to the Penn State Nittany Lions Dynasty mode in NCAA 2004, where we are back in a Capital One Bowl due to some Buckeye blunders, and oddly enough, a Baylor blunder. In the previous episode, we are here at 10-2, once again missing the mark, just shy. Just a couple games here, going up against a 9-4 Georgia team coming out of the SEC. Presumably the SEC runner-ups. I think that's how that math tracks here. If my bowl tie-ins are correct here, I think we are getting the Big Ten and SEC runners-up in this bowl game here. The SEC has been kind of on a downturn in the sim. You see, Georgia's 9-4 being the second-best team in the SEC. That's a little alarming, I guess you could say. But this game has already happened before. It just happened a couple seasons ago. In our first season at Penn State, we were in the same venue, playing the same game against the same Georgia team. Well, it's not the same Georgia team because they have quite a bit of different role players on this team. The only player I recognize that's still on here, I think, is Albert Henley, the fullback. I'm pretty sure they still have the same fullback, but everyone else is different. And they're all gone here. And we're also very different as well. I think this is our first bowl game since being at Penn State that we are not rocking with Chris Boyer. So it's definitely a bit of a shock here where we have a different quarterback. And there he is. Look there, Derek Bridges. There he is, having a good season, a great season. So things are working just fine without number 15. I think we'll be okay. But we're looking to get another bowl game victory. Obviously, continue the pace that we've been on, building the prestige of this program, and hopefully bring in more high-value talent so we can continue to compete within our own conference, because until we get over the Buckeyes, we're going to be stuck playing games like this every single year. James Franklin knows, and we don't want to be like that. We do not want to be like that. So, getting into the game here, first and goal here. Now, Georgia already within striking distance, and that pass is caught. I don't know how it is. Someone needs to review that, but somehow Rick Harrison, yes, like from, from Pawn Stars? Yeah, Rick Harrison. But maybe no relation. But Rick Harrison here is able to find an open receiver for a touchdown, but again, tries it again. Georgia has another opportunity in the red zone, and this time it ends up in an interception. So our defense had learned, and now we give ourselves an opportunity here. So 1st and 10, we're going to hand off to Dallas Vinson, the fullback/running back, who's out in open space here, and this is exactly why he's starting running back, because he's got the juice and the wheels to do plays like this, and there, it's a humongous touchdown run from scrimmage, and notice how no record thing popped up, so he just does that. That's just what he does on the regular. So yeah, it's crazy when you have two fullbacks starting at running back and fullback, but when you have a fullback as good as Dallas Vinson, yeah, you gotta roll with him. You just gotta roll him. And he reminds me, I made this reference I think in the last video, but he reminds me more of that Warren guy that Penn State had like last year, number 44 I think. Yeah, he reminds me more of him. But either way, Georgia now is moving the other way, and they're going to answer with a big play of their own on the shoestrings. Can he make the tackle? No, he cannot. I don't know why he didn't just dive at the ankles there, but yeah, it is what it is. But Georgia answers with a big play of their own, and now this lead swings back. The pendulum swings back in their favor. And Georgia's going to take the lead once again as Harrison was able to find Santino Stewart, who is probably the best receiver on this Georgia roster, over 800 yards, and that probably for sure gets him over the 900 threshold here, and that's touchdown number 5 on the year for him, unless I think he caught the one earlier. I think he caught the first one, so that might have been touchdown number 6 for him, but either way, first quarter comes to a close, Georgia hanging on to a lead, and they have another scoring opportunity here with goal to go. Harrison back to pass. He rifles it to the back of the end zone, and I think that was Stewart once again, man. He just keeps finding his guy. And our defense really needs to lock in here. Our secondary is not playing complete football here that we've seen all season long. It's a little alarming. It's very alarming as Georgia takes a 14-point lead early in the second quarter, but we have, some tricks up our sleeves, man. We do. Derek Bridges finds an open receiver, and now he is off to the races down the sideline. It is a foot race. It's Derek Wise, and he finds his way into the end zone, so another big chunk play for this Nittany Lion offense, and that seems to be the only way that we can get things rolling, which, if that's what it is, it is what it is. If that's how it's going to work, that's how it's going to work, as Bridges is able to find Wise, and no one was even around him. Wise got completely behind the defense, and yeah, no one was ever going to catch him once he turned on the Jets, man. It was a foregone conclusion. It was not happening. So fast forward to a 3rd and 6 for Georgia, once again within striking distance, and Harrison goes through the air into the end zone, and oh my God, somebody stop that guy. Somebody double team him, triple team him, put everyone on him as Santino Stewart just continues to feast on this Penn State secondary. There just does not seem to be an answer for number 83. And now Georgia taking a 28-14 lead, extending back to 14 again, but now we are within striking distance once again. And Derek Bridges is able to find an open receiver. This time, I don't think it was Dallas Vinson. I think it was one of our fullbacks here. I think it was Hakeem Gary. And we'll see again on the replay. And no, it is not. It was actually, if you believe it, Reuben Graham, our actual fullback, our literal fullback, was able to make that play and get a touchdown catch in this game. So now back within 7, but Georgia once again on the attack, but they're going to fumble the football, and we're going to land on top of it. So finally a mistake is made between either of these teams. Well, actually, Georgia already had the interception, but, now they made another mistake, and that allows us to at least catch up here, and we see why Georgia hasn't been running all that much, because Marvin Nash puts the football on the grass. And now Derek Bridges is going to try and cash in on this, and in double coverage, I have no idea how that worked. I have no idea how that happened or why that happened, but in double coverage, I believe it was Julius Winborn, the sophomore, our big 5-star stud here. Or actually, it might have been Roberto Lacey, because it's showing 82, so I'm guessing it was Roberto Lacey who managed to come down with it here. But now with a minute left to go, the game is tied, and we once again have another opportunity, and now in the end zone here, Derek Bridges just somehow finding the needle in the haystack, finding the open space in Georgia's airtight coverage here, and finds an open Penn State receiver, able to come down with it, and Roberto Lacey's blocking the number. I can't see who. Okay, now we see. Now we can see who it is, and it doesn't matter, because it's receiver number 5 or 6 on the depth chart. We're so deep there, I just can't write them all down. But still, within a minute here, Georgia's got time, and that pass is blocked. It's blocked here on 3rd and 16. So on 4th and 16 here, there's 35 seconds left to go in the half. Georgia kind of in no man's land, so maybe a decision we might be seeing, and Georgia's going to attempt a long field goal. This is very, very long, and of course we should have known better here. They're going for a fake field goal, and again, I've said it a million times in the Bama series when it used to happen a lot in that series. I don't know why the AI, just makes them do that all the time. It makes 0 sense. I don't get it. But with 2 seconds left to go in the half here, Derek Bridges is going to try something else. Shows off the arm, and that ball, I think it was tipped. I think it was deflected somehow. But either way, a Penn State receiver comes down with it. And that's a complete dagger into Georgia's momentum here. We just completely kind of kill any sort of pace that the Bulldogs were building early in this game here. As Bridges evading the pressure, by the way. Great pocket awareness here. And he manages to find Derek Wise for another touchdown in this game, and that's going to extend us to a 14-point lead. So we came down 14 at the beginning of the second quarter, and now we're heading into the locker room at halftime up by 14. So a complete just flip of the script here in one quarter. That's just how it works. And in the third quarter now, we are within the striking distance first here. Already a lot of time off the clock in the third quarter, and a generous tackle animation is going to get us inside of the end zone here as Derek Bridges is able to find Julius Winborn, and he's going to get dragged in. So we're going to get another look at it here. And yeah, you see they had him dead to rights, and I think, just the way that animation played out, it just got the ball to break the plane. So we score again here, 49-28, and now on the ensuing kickoff, immediately after that touchdown play here, Georgia cannot afford any more disasters. But would you believe that they have more disasters? As they fumble the kickoff, and we land on top of it. So Georgia gets their 3rd turnover of the game, and that one might just be the seal there. I think already a 21-point game probably ends things for Georgia, but one more score could really give us some insurance. And on 3rd and 7 here, Derek Bridges understands the assignment here, throws it into triple coverage. I don't know if he really did, but there's a hanky on the field here, so that was a terrible decision to make from Derek Bridges, but maybe he understood something here, because there was a little bit of handsiness in the Georgia secondary. They're trying to hold down Julius Winborn, and you cannot do that. So obviously some frustration from the Georgia sideline, because hey man, that could have got Georgia back in the game. Any shred of momentum that could have been built is not completely gone. We have goal to go here, and Bridges is not going to miss that opportunity. Evades the pressure once again and whips it into the end zone to find Julius Winborn for another Penn State touchdown. And all of our receivers are eating, and I think this game alone is going to get Derek Bridges over 30 touchdowns. It already has. He's just been absolutely lights out. So the third quarter comes to a close, and now we're up 56-28. The last Capital One Bowl with Georgia was a high-scoring affair here that we kind of blew Georgia out of the water. So it's a very similar situation going on right now with the Bulldogs, but they're not done yet. They're not completely done, as Bridges is able to find Garrett Hogan, who I'm pretty sure had the fumble in the kickoff. I think so. I think that's who it was. I didn't know if I had him wrote down, but I do. I think it's Garrett Hogan who fumbled it. But he has a touchdown here, so paying back, coach, I guess, or I don't know, trying to get back here, get back in the good graces of the Bulldog faithful here. But 35-56 now the score. Georgia back on offense here. And Harrison able to find Stewart once again. Why not, man? Pad the stats. You just go for it. Neither of them are seniors, so, I mean, it's not going to matter. And Rick Harrison's actually had a great season, man. He's thrown for over 3,500 yards, 23 touchdowns, and just 10 interceptions. And to be honest with you guys, I honestly think that this game could get him close to 30 touchdowns. So he might actually end up having an amazing season. I mean, already a good season. And then he does stuff like that. I don't even know why I talk. I don't even know why. I announcer jinx myself all the time. time. I don't understand it. But we get another interception here. That's essentially the game-sealing interception. Georgia, adds their points or whatever, their garbage time points, makes it a little bit more respectable here, but 56-42 is the score. A total of 98 points just being thrown at the scoreboard in this game here as our defense completely kind of gives up in the fourth quarter, respectfully so. I don't think there's any reason for us to really be, dragging ourselves through all 4 quarters here. Get the seniors across the finish line, give them another bowl victory here. They're decorated, we're decorated, and we're going to grab our 11th win of the season. So, which is what, the third straight time we've done that? So, we have already kind of flipped the script here at Penn State. But again, we're still struggling with the same sort of stuff here. We got to get over the hump. Just an important thing to note here, Georgia did outplay us offensively in a lot of areas. We, of course, outran them, but I think a lot of that came off of Dallas Vincent's big touchdown run. Neither team really running all that effectively in the game here. Georgia's in the red zone a lot, and we only stopped them once. Obviously, the turnovers is a big difference here because Georgia showed a capability on offense, at least, to compete with us. So maybe that's something to note, something to look at. I don't know, but we won. So that's all that matters. A win's a win. They don't ask how, they ask how many. So now we're going to get into the rest of the video. Hopefully we can get over that hump with a good season of recruiting. So let's head back. All right, so now it's time to go for our favorite part. I don't know if it's our favorite part, but it's one I enjoy here, but simming or seeing who the national championship is and simming through all the games. So let's simulate through the remainder of the bowl games and see what the end of the college football season has to offer us. Wow, okay, so nothing, man. No offers here, nothing to do with our contract. We're still under contract for, I think, a couple more seasons, so it's not like, they would extend us again here for the season. I guess, especially because this is technically like a down year, so maybe they're expecting a little bit more from Fred Kirk in the following season here, but no other school was interested in our services following our season here. So now let's go through and look through our national championship, because it's a doozy, man. It is an absolute doozy here. So you see Colorado State up here at 12-1, so they didn't make it. And then you have North Texas here, and they beat Notre Dame. Wow. And so they didn't make it, but they're 12-1 as well. So whoever your guesses was, I don't even know if I can't even remember if I've made it like a secret, but 12-1 Wake Forest. So Wake Forest continues to put together good seasons. It's just not really materializing. But yeah, here it is. Western Michigan is, Western Michigan is your national champion, and they beat, or rather, they lose to the Buckeyes here. So the Buckeyes beat us, win the Big Ten, and then complete the run and make it back and win another national title. So the Buckeyes remain to just be one of those programs, man. And Virginia Tech also still here, man. So a lot of the same teams at the top, man. We just keep kind of seeing that. I think that's cool in certain ways, and then there's also some that are just kind of bothering me. Like, dude, why is Ohio State still here? Why can't, as a Buckeye fan, like, why can't we just get a break here? Just cut me some slack. So let us look at the stat book now and see exactly what happened under the hood. So Derek Bridges, freshman All-American, so in his first season here, really lit things up here. 34 touchdowns, just 12 picks. So I think we got a winner right here in Derek Bridges. I think I made the right call by going with Bridges to start the season because his throwing stats were just the best out of all the quarterbacks on our depth chart, even though they were all butting in about the same place overall-wise. I think Derek Bridges was the right call. But Sadie Milligan did get on the field in this season here, and judging by his attempts, looks like he probably played about 2 games maybe. Not great numbers that you can really rely on, but, there might be something there over the next couple seasons. They're both freshmen, so we'll see what happens. Running the football, Dallas Vincent. Running Dallas Vincent as our starting running back as a fullback ended up also working very well. Over 1,100 yards and 13 touchdowns, averaging over 5.5 yards a carry, so a very good season. But then also you have Keon Samuels, who got on the field a lot this year as well. 126 attempts for 700 or so yards and 6 touchdowns. So we also got 4 touchdowns out of Ruben Graham, who was our starting fullback, because Dallas Vincent was our starting running back. So we actually got quite a lot from running the football. It'll be interesting to see where those numbers are. Receiving-wise is kind of a little bit odd. So despite the great numbers that we saw from Derek Bridges, Roberto Lacey is our top receiver, but he fails to reach 800 yards, but does get 10 touchdowns. Derek Wise, I think it's Wise. Derek Wise has his best season here to break out. He might graduate off of this. I don't know. I'd like to see him come back, but he might graduate off of this. He's averaging like 10 yards more a catch than like the next closest receiver receivers around him. So that was a great season from Derek Wise. Lamar Lambert here is our freshman tight end. Also had a pretty decent year, as a freshman season. I'd like to see the tight end involved a little bit more, but that'll be for Bridges to kind of learn as he gets more familiar with the offense and his receivers in front of him. But there's a lot. So we had 2 tight ends with over 400 yards. So between both these tight ends, I think that's just about 900 yards and about 6 touchdowns. So getting about almost 1,000 yards from your tight end position is a really good thing. So it was split up a lot more this season. That's definitely what we can see. So LJ Jacobs in his sophomore season has a complete just breakout, amazing year from him. Andrea Weiss here, kind of allowing, it's a similar season, allowed about the same amount of sacks here, limited it and upped his pancakes. So we did get a little bit better here. Michael Mathis in his sophomore season has an identical year. Isaiah Moultrie has a worse year, and then, as it gets further down, not great. So we'll probably see a lot of alarming numbers here, especially because you had Rusty Eldridge give 11 sacks on his own. So we might see some alarming sack numbers here. Not a lot of protection for the quarterback, probably why Bridges spent a couple games out of commission. So defensively, Deshaun Dorsey here, God, man, you can definitely feel that we do not have LeBron Pierce anymore. You can definitely feel it. So 77 tackles leads the team here. We desperately need that production to be back. We only have 2 guys over 70 tackles, just period. Which, for how good our defenses have been in the early Fred Kirk era at Penn State, this is kind of a down year, I guess you could say. Only 3 guys with double-digit TFLs, so we're really getting around. Otis Hess had a great year. I will just point that out. Otis Hess had an amazing year. It's about on brand with where he has been, but it's still just a good year. He's been a very, very effective defensive tackle in his time here, and it sucks to see him go, man. It sucks to see him graduate. But and then in the interceptions column here, again, we're kind of divvying out a lot, but the numbers are just not all that high. So I think defensively we'll probably take a step back. We might see that in the stat rankings. Who knows? And then Amari Maddox here, not a great start to his college career here, only kicking 70%. You'd expect a little bit more, but again, he should get better, so I'm not super worried about it. So we'll go to the stat rankings now and take a look under the hood here. So yards per game here, we finished 7th. So we actually had a great offense. We had, by a lot of metrics here, we had the best offense in the entire conference. So that's, I guess, I don't know, because Ohio State won it. So I'm trying to say, like, silver lining, but, we could have been better. We could have beat Ohio State. We could have won the national championship, but, we fell short when it mattered. So, but these are still good numbers to look at here. Rushing is inside top 50, so we'll take it here. Kind of closer to the middle of the pack here, but still in the top of the conference. Points per game here, we're second, probably only to Ohio State. Passing touchdowns, we are second, but first in conference. I think it was a similar situation last year as well. Rushing TDs were actually 25th in the country and 3rd in the Big Ten, so we actually did get a lot of rushing touchdowns. First downs, we were 17th in the country, 2nd in the Big Ten. Sacks, yeah, dude, I told you guys, sacks is going to be a bad number, man. Only one team in the Big Ten was getting sacked at a higher rate. That's not great at all, man. So, and considering some of the offensive line, like some of the units that are in this conference, that's really bad. So we're just not getting the production out of our O-line like we should be, and they're all getting kind of good, man. So maybe next year we'll see a little bit more, but I don't know. So the percentage actually correlates with the attempts and the touchdowns. So we were actually really efficient in the red zone. We were really good, man, in a lot of ways. We were really good in the red zone this year. So our offense was clicking, and that seems to be the big thing here. So defensively, so yards per game, we were actually 14th. So actually not allowing a lot of yards here. Our passing defense was pretty bad. It gets closer to 50th, but as far as our conference is concerned, it's actually pretty good because, again, our conference, I still don't think even in this game relies on passing the football all that much. So, yeah, our defense being 47th in the country is probably good enough. That just says more about the caliber of the passing attack in the Big Ten as a conference than it really does for us as a team. So, for us to be 47th and then 3rd in our conference, better than, 7, 8 other teams, that's not great. That's not good at all. And then rushing. So, our rushing defense is really freaking good. So, our defense is actually really solid. Wow, that's not what the numbers and individual performances were alluding to me. So, points against is 8th. So we allowed the fewest points in the entire conference on average. Wow, that's our defense was lights out, dude. We were a great team. So who knows? The performances we got here, the stat rankings probably indicate that we should have been maybe better than 11-2, but it's still a great year. So I don't know how much more you could really be upset. So it looks like defensive line seems to be the thing the Big Ten is good at because we were 38th in the country and 7th in the conference. So there's 6 other teams in front of us that were better at getting to the quarterback than we were. But we still finished inside the top 40 in the entire country. So the Big Ten seems to probably just loads the top 38 or so spots in sacks. Interceptions, we were 40th, not that great. Fumbles, we were 2nd here. Red zone attempts and touchdowns, we were 2nd. So we didn't allow a lot of that at all. And then even our red zone percentage. So on both sides of the football, red zone percentage is actually pretty accurate, or it correlates with the attempts and the touchdowns. So normally one of those stats is conflicting with the other one, but this year it's all pretty consistent. We didn't allow a lot of attempts, didn't allow a lot of touchdowns, and our percentage reflects that. And on offense, we had a lot of attempts, we had a lot of touchdowns, and our percentage reflects that. So as far as efficiency goes, third down conversions here, kind of all over the place. So we took a lot of third downs, which is really not good, but we did convert a lot. So interesting. Our percentage was also very good. So we were close to 50% on the year. Not bad. We'll take it. We were 71% on fourth down. We actually took 14 of them this year. So Fred Kirk was a little bit more aggressive maybe than we're used to seeing. We saw that in the bowl game. So it correlates and it actually worked out for him this year. So maybe we'll see it moving forward. Who knows? We're actually also pretty disciplined. So yeah, efficiency. I like what we see. Turnovers is interesting. So we're 47th in the country in interceptions, but third in our conference. So it looks like the passing situation for the Big Ten as a whole is in a very, very rough state, in a very bad state. So not a lot of great quarterbacks and receiving duos in the Big Ten, as it would seem, because if we come in at 47th, then yeah, which makes sense. But fumbles lost here, we were 22nd, so we actually protected the football a little bit better running-wise than we normally do. Maybe it's because we had a big fullback instead of just a flimsy running back, right? And then defense typically saves us our turnover differential, and it happens again here. But all the numbers are around like second to fourth, like they're all about in there. So I think that's kind of like a worse. We have some outlier stats here, but for the most part, I think the numbers reflect exactly what we were looking to see. So let's look at the Big Ten standings here before I record everything else and we get into the offseason. So let's do that here. Look at the Big Ten. So, of course, Ohio State, winners of the Big Ten and national champs here. They beat us out. We finished 7-1 in conference, finished second. Illinois puts together a good season. They seem to be doing that a little bit more often. We might be seeing Illinois emerge as a big power in the Big Ten. It's possible. Iowa also puts together another solid season. Just can't seem to get over that 8-win hump, though. They seem to be stuck around that 7-8 win margin. And so we'll see if Iowa can take a step forward in recruiting. Minnesota, a team who's been recruiting pretty poorly, actually does decent in conference, wins all of their games in Big Ten play, and finishes 4-8 at fifth. And that 4-4 is comprised of, I guess, wins over Wisconsin or Michigan, because Wisconsin's sitting here at 6th. That's 7-6, a 500 season. Michigan also hovering around that 500 margin at 7th in the conference. Indiana, once again, all their wins coming from conference play here, finishing 3-9, which I think is good. If you're a bad team, if you can at least win a few conference games, because the hardest thing is to lose them. That was the big thing with Duke, was we couldn't even win conference games. You can be bad, but you can't go 2-10 and then 0-8 in conference. It just doesn't really help your case. Purdue down here at 5-7 after a terrible year in conference. See, this is what I'm talking about. Because if Purdue won one of these games, they'd be 6-6. Maybe going bowling. Who knows? Michigan State at 10th here at 2-10, and then Northwestern, the bottom, completely falls out here, 1-7 in conference, and just cannot win any kinds of games here. So that is how the Big Ten stacks up. Now I'm going to record the rest of our results, and we will get into the offseason. All right, now it's time, maybe for everyone's favorite part. Maybe. I don't know. The offseason part? Who knows? Oh, my God. Look at this. So this is what happens when you have to basically rebuild the entire team, which is what we've done really last season, but also the season before. We did quite a bit of it, too. But this is all we're losing. So, yeah, Derek Wise, as I did call just a little bit ago, he is going to graduate early following his breakout season here. I don't know what he thinks he's going to do, because this is like a 6th or 7th round pick, I'm thinking here. But we're also losing Roberto Lacey to graduation, so maybe if we can get some 2 blue chip receivers, maybe we'll have the interest nationally. We can replace these guys and we'll be okay. But regardless, what we have on the depth chart is not a bad situation. So I think we'll be fine here. And then Simeon Rich we're losing at left guard here. Phil Morris we're losing on the right side defensively here. Had a decent enough season for us here. Simeon Rich did not have a great year, so he was never really that much of a foundational piece on our offensive line here, but it's still a bit to lose. And then Otis Hess, obviously one of the better defensive players we had this season. I think overall-wise is the best defensive player on the team. He is gone. And then Stanley Hardy, who had, he got on the field. He did what he could. He did his part. But again, cornerback is another situation where I think we have more than enough depth there, and we should be okay long term. So let's get into recruiting. It shouldn't be too much of a recruiting thing here. I'm going to try and keep bringing in a lot of young talent, just so we're not experiencing any drop offs in the coming seasons. But all I think I really want to address is just receiver and just some depth at positions that we could need. But if there's a bunch of blue chips that want to come here, obviously we're going to grab them. So let's go for it now and see what we can do with recruiting. Okay, so another powerful class here that we have loaded up on. So I got a lot of guys that I don't think we necessarily needed. I don't think most of these guys I got are probably going to hang around, but I wanted to load up and keep bringing the talent in here so we can not just win a national title, but maybe multiple, right? Maybe grab a couple. Who knows, right? But I don't know how long we'll go into that. But let's look at the signings now. Grabbed the number 1 tackle in the country out of Maryland, so we did beef up the offensive line a little bit. Again, we did lose, I think, a guard, which not a huge deal, but, just adding the number 1 tackle in the country, that's going to help somewhere. We also got the number 12 running back. I really just only grabbed him because he's from Pennsylvania. We don't need another running back, but, again, trying to recruit in-state here, trying to be solid here. Got another linebacker, an outside linebacker. Again, I don't know how the depth of that position really is looking right now, but getting the 4th-ranked outside linebacker and the 2nd-ranked outside linebacker, mind you, should kind of make the conversation a little bit interesting as we get into training and, of course, the depth chart and final cuts. So I did want to load up at cornerback a lot, and I got the 7th and 8th ranked cornerbacks in the country, so that's, kind of adding more talent to that. We already added a lot of talent in the last offseason, but here's more. I also got another receiver, Vinny Wise. We're going to say that this is the brother of Derek Wise. So Vinny Wise, his brother, number 1 receiver in his class, is coming here. So we got him from California. So this is the big one. This is the big get right here. He was like the top guy on both boards and everything, and I was able to grab him. So that's where he's at. We also grabbed the number 8 receiver in the country in Snoop Green. Snoop Green, what a name. So we got more receivers here. This one from Pennsylvania. We got a few guys from Pennsylvania. Also got another quarterback. Again, 5-star quarterback, 3rd quarterback in the entire country. I'd be stupid not to throw points at him, and he just decided to come here. So, absolutely. Merrill Dennis, another example of a recruit who just did not like anything I was throwing at him, but for some reason he decided to come here. So, after needing a strong safety for so many seasons, we finally get the number 1 ranked strong safety in the entire class. So, I also grabbed another cornerback here. Got a free safety just because he was a 5-star. Didn't need him, but we got him anyway. Got a lot of defensive line stuff. There wasn't any 5-star stuff that we could grab. We'll look at that in a second. But there was a lot of 4-star line guys between defensive line, offensive line, and I was able to grab a lot of them. And again, I don't think any of these 4-star guards are probably going to hang around that long, but or at all, but we grabbed a lot here. Same with this linebacker. Don't know if he'll stick around, but yeah, we got a lot of 4-stars as well. Got kind of loaded here, and then the game just threw me these guys at the end. So looking at who I missed out on in our current targets tab here. So, this defensive tackle, the number 1 defensive tackle in the country, I really wanted. He's from Pennsylvania, but he ends up going to Ohio State. Gurr. That's what I meant to say, not Gar. Gurr. And then this quarterback, another 5-star quarterback. We didn't need him because we ended up getting, Alonzo McMillan from Pennsylvania. But this 5-star quarterback from Maryland ends up going to Maryland. So I almost said that's going to be rough in conference. And yeah, dude, sometimes my current college football knowledge and this college football knowledge just gets blurred. The line just gets blurred. So that's going to suck for the ACC. They'll have fun with that. And then we also lost the number 4 receiver in the country to Miami. He ends up staying in state and going with Miami. And that might be about it. Yeah, there's another defensive tackle. So Ohio State's defensive line might be really strong. That might be something concerning we're going to have to look for in the coming season here. They might have a pretty good pass rush here. Just might be able to stop the run game. That might be a little bit concerning here. Lost a 5-star receiver to Louisiana Tech. Interesting. So La Tech might be putting something together down there in the bayou. Who knows? Who knows? And we lost some more 4-stars here, but that's really the only important stuff that we're looking at. We should have the top class again, and we do. Yeah, so by far and away the most 5-stars of anyone who's even close to us here. But Miami putting something together here, so whoever they got to coach the Hurricanes has done pretty well here. Did good in his first season, and he's looking to further expand on that. Texas, who also had a great bounce back year after a couple down years, they really put something together here last season. North Texas is still hanging up here as well. Auburn, who bounced back after a down year, wins the SEC again with a 15-game schedule. It's just rough, dude. Well, it's 13 games, but then they play the championship in a bowl. You get it. But 15 games. I don't know why they keep doing that. The game just won't let them play 12. It sucks, but, and then Virginia Tech is still up here. Obviously, winners of the Big East again, finishing in the top of the country. USC throwing their hat in the ring here. USC was at the top of the Pac-10, but I think because of the tiebreakers, they ended up losing out on the conference championship, but they were at the top. And then Ohio State, of course, our bitter rival here, coming in at 8th. Kansas State comes in at 9th, who's, of course, been very good here. They win the Big 12 again, even though there's 3 schools in the Big 12 that all had 11 wins. I think Texas, Kansas State, and Oklahoma all had 11-plus wins, so they're here. TCU wins Conference USA here. They were also in a heated battle, I think, with Tulane at the top of Conference USA, and they end up winning it. Northern Illinois, another good season from them here. They're up top. UCLA, who kind of faltered in conference play a little bit last year, but had the best record, I think, in all of the Pac-10, but they're still here at 12. Air Force, who ends up beating Colorado State to win the Mountain West, I think for the second time. I think it's the second time they've done that, despite having more losses overall. But they're still up here. Mostly 4 stars between UCLA and Air Force, so that's something interesting here. Oklahoma, I guess it wasn't Oklahoma. I can't remember who it was then who also had 11 wins in the Big 12, but we might stumble across them here. But Oklahoma also up here. Western Michigan, the national champ, runners up. Doesn't have as good of a class here, but still keeping it loaded with a lot of talent in the top 25 of recruiting, so we should probably expect to see the Broncos again somewhere. Rice continues to stay at the top of things as well. Wake Forest falters a little bit here. They're another team that I think is just so close to just putting everything together. They just have not been able to do it. They grabbed a 5-star running back from Pennsylvania as well, so they're taking guys from us here. But the Demon Deacons at 17th. Akron, another MAC team because the MAC's just been so good. Here's Tulane, as I mentioned, at Conference USA. They're starting to put things together. I think that's their second straight, really solid season that they've had. Toledo, another MAC team here. Fresno State, who got shut out in their bowl game, by the way. I think they lost to Northern Illinois 20-0, but they win the WAC again, take it from Rice. Enter here. Ole Miss finally putting something together. Remember how bad Ole Miss was in our Bama sim. Colorado State still up here at 23rd, but they might finally start to be slowing down here. Only 1 5-star and just 7 4-stars, so they might be slowing down. Georgia, who we just beat, creeps in the top 25 here. And then UCF, another MAC team, closes out the top 25. So a little bit unsettling here if you're outside of this year. LSU just sitting outside here. Haven't seen a lot from the Tigers here. UNLV putting something together. La Tech, who, remember, we lost a prospect to. It's their top recruit. He's their 1 5-star. But Louisiana Tech's putting something together, so they might be a force in the WAC. You might have to look out for that here. New Mexico State did win the Sun Belt again here, taking it from North Texas. So North Texas is way higher, but New Mexico State still managing to put some good teams out on the field. Illinois comes in at 33rd, so Illinois still continuing to stay on that upward trend. Not really a drastic change, but they're still here. Kent State, another MAC team, by the way. They've been pretty good, high in recruiting most seasons, but they faltered a little bit. Notre Dame is a bad season too. Good lord. West Virginia really kind of falling off here. Jeez, 10-3 last year, and they're all the way down. So we might be witnessing the collapse of Western Virginia in real time. Did I say Western Virginia? West Virginia. But yeah, here's the Pac-10 champs at 43rd. Looking for more Big Ten here. Iowa, again, hanging around the 50th spot, just in that area. You know what I mean? Wow, look at this sandwich of SEC teams. Goodness gracious. You got a good sandwich of them. Boise State in 53. They're typically way down below, but Boise State maybe figuring things out here. Duke is at 56, man. Only 3 stars after a down year already. They even drop in prestige, so Duke is starting to kind of turn around here and revert back to the norm. That's unfortunate to see, man. All that work Fred Kirk did, and it's starting to just evaporate. Wisconsin at 62. Not a whole lot to push the needle there. They might be hanging around the same spot here. UConn actually had a good year, finally. I think UConn, that might be the first winning season UConn has had since they've joined the ACC. I'm not even kidding you. I'm not kidding. Michigan State is at 68th, so Michigan State typically a lot further down here, but they actually recruit decently well here. Michigan at 73rd, so things might continue to get worse for Ann Arbor. Get worse in Ann Arbor. Continue to look here for the rest of the Big Ten. Minnesota's at 84th. That's not good at all. They're probably going to continue to get a little bit worse as well. They play well in conference, but that's about it. Excuse me, guys. Purdue coming in here at 95th. We've seen Purdue down here before, so they might continue to get worse. Indiana at 97th. They finally cracked the top 100 for the first time since we've joined the Big Ten, but still not great overall. Can we get the rest of the Big Ten here? So Northwestern, still things are going bad for Northwestern here. Not great. They're at least able to get 8 recruits to come. That's something. But, wow, Oregon, North Carolina. Look at all these P6 teams hanging out here at the bottom. Iowa State continues to be bad. Jeez, man. So I think we at least get all except for Northwestern in the Big Ten inside of the top 100. So that counts for something. I think that counts for something. But we're going to get moving on into the training results here. We spent too much time on recruiting, so let's move on. Okay, so here's a rundown of how the roster is looking here. So our most improved is Kyle Knight in his senior season, looking to get on, looking to start here. He wants to make his case to start. He has not started at all, so he's looking to maybe start and get in to the daily rotation or to the weekly rotation. He probably will with those numbers. Wes White notices that we grabbed a new hot shot, #1 strong safety in the country, and he's like, no, he's not taking my job. I'm solidifying the starting strong safety position, which is fine. He can do that. Greg Blanchard also taking a huge step here up to 98 overall. Conrad Barker up to a 93 as a junior. LJ Jacobs up to a 93. So we might see, oh wow, some competition here at right tackle. Who knows? We might see. We might see here, man. Pat Bland up to an 89. There should be some space here for a lot of guys. We should be rotating some guys as well, because I think it's not going to be unanimous who's going to start at any position. We have another right tackler in the high 80s, so it's definitely going to be very competitive at a lot of different positions. So a lot of 90s that we're seeing. So we're finally trending that direction here. This is supposed to be the roster that I think can at least get us to the national title game, and I think they should be able to win it. Derek Bridges up to an 87, so he continues to grow a little bit. He's the first quarterback I've seen. Sandy Milligan up to an 86. So it looks like our starting tandem of 1 and 2 might still be intact here. We might still be okay. We'll look at the numbers and see who's better where, but we should be still okay. Zach Magruder up to an 86, so these guys are progressing just about at the same clip, so we should still have about 3 or 4 quarterbacks all hanging around that like mid-80 range, which should be fine. So cutting is going to be interesting, because I think there will actually be quite a few guys worth cutting. And so, like actual high-end prospects worth cutting. So we're going to get into that and see exactly what happens. I think I'll pause, but I'll chime in if there's any big cuts or decisions to make. So we'll hop into that right now. Okay, so the cutting phase was a little difficult. I had to cut pretty much most of our recruiting class, because we were so loaded from last year's class that still, even the second and third stringers were still far and away better than the guys that we just brought in, and we don't really have the space on the roster to wait for new guys to continue to grow and develop. So we're going to just roll with the redshirt freshmen and sophomores that we have on the roster already, because those guys are really good, and the guys we brought in are not as good right now. So basically all we did recruiting-wise was just play defense, essentially, just taking talent from other of the top schools. That's essentially all we did. But Derek Bridges is still going to start for us here. Again, I said I was going to look at the numbers. I think Magruder is just more of an athlete, not so much a passer. Yeah, look at this. His passing numbers are the worst of the 3 of our quarterbacks. But yeah, Bridges actually, okay, so Milligan's actually more accurate, supposedly, than Bridges is, but the power's just there with Bridges. So we're going to move Magruder down to 3rd string once again, but Milligan at 2nd string. That seems to be what works here. Magruder's a good athlete here, but not really what we're looking for right now at quarterback. Keon Samuels is finally fighting the spot here for the starting running back. I think it was last year too, but we're going to run with Dallas Vincent once again since we have him. He had a great year last year. I'm expecting more of about the same next year, or this year as well. So we're definitely going to roll with him at starting running back once again. And of course, since we still have Ruben Graham as our starting fullback, we don't need Vincent to play fullback. So even if we did, I think we'd probably put in a tight end and run Vincent at running back, since he's better at that position. So that's how we're going to roll it. Dan Pace is up to an 87 as a sophomore. Julius Winborn up to an 86 as a junior here. Vinny Wise, who we just brought in, already had an 85, so he's going to start as a freshman. We'll be seeing primary reps for him, for the Wise brother. Edwin Mathis here at 83 as well. And then Snoop Green, who we just brought in, also at an 80 overall. So the receiving core is absolutely loaded. There shouldn't be any reason why we don't have at least a 4,000-yard quarterback and a few or a couple 1,000-yard receivers. There's just no excuse. Hakeem Gary's going to start at tight end as a senior at 90. There's a lot of seniors starting here, guys. Andre Weiss up to a 93, starting at left tackle. We'll see how the offensive line looks here. So Pat Bland as a senior is going to start at left guard. At center, we're going to run with Michael Mathis once again. And then at right guard, we'll make a decision here. I don't know if it really matters all that much. I'm guessing their pass block and run block is probably about the same. Actually, the pass block is a lot better for Isaiah Moultrie, so we're going to roll with that. I don't know if he necessarily showed that last season, but that was a big problem we had last year, so we're going to run with Isaiah Moultrie here at right guard, and then at right tackle, we're going to run with LJ Jacobs. So unfortunately, all of Kyle Knight's best efforts in training did not get him a spot here to start on the offensive line, so he's going to probably graduate never getting an actual live rep, even though he's good enough to do so. So he's probably better than every right tackle, starting right tackle in the entire conference, except for ours, and maybe someone on Ohio State. But, I mean, that's it sucks. It happens in this game. So Domingo Brandon's going to start as a senior on the left side defensively, and then on the right side we're going to run with Milligan. Obviously, he's the better defensive end, so we got 285s on both sides. Great, and they both get to start. It's great. Defensive tackle here. Greg Blanchard, the best player on the team, is going to start here as a junior. Matt Pearson's going to be an 88 behind him as a sophomore. And then, of course, we have Scotty Patrick as a senior behind him. So, loaded again. Another position we're loaded. But we are going to lose a lot of guys. This could be, we might be putting all of our eggs into this basket, man. This might be the final ride for Fred Kirk. Who knows? Keenan West here is going to start at left outside linebacker. We're going to look and see if there's a better option. So, Tyrell Wiley is the best middle linebacker we have, just period, out of all positions. So, he's going to start there. And then Deshaun Dorsey's going to start on the right side. So, we are going to put Barker to start because he is a little bit better on the left side here. So, yeah, 93, 87, and 97. That's a good setup here between our linebackers. I like that. Steve McDonald up to an 87 as a junior here. Kyler Turner up to an 85 as a junior as well. Paul Rivera, 82 as a junior. Wow, man. So we're going to be losing like a lot of cornerbacks in mass. In a couple seasons, it's going to be a brutal time trying to fix this. And I pretty much just cut everyone who's going to help this in a couple of years because I had to. We didn't have the roster spots, but still. Lester Moore here up to a 97 as a senior. I did keep Stuart Williams, who we just recruited because free safety. Safety in general is such a hard position to recruit that I just didn't want to cut those. But some of the other depth positions I cut, you know, we get them a dime a dozen, like all the guards and stuff, you know what I mean? I got those like a dime a dozen, so I cut a lot of those. But Lester Moore is going to start for us at free safety, and then Wes White is going to start at strong safety at an 88. But Merrill Dennis, who we just recruited, the top recruit in the country, already in here at an 80, so we'll have his replacement. We'll have Wes White's replacement probably the next couple seasons. So and then Omari Maddox is up to an 81 as the kicker, so that's how the team looks. I think we have a good enough roster here to really do whatever we set our minds to. We really just have to get out of the Big Ten. I think if we even make it to the game, I don't think it really matters who makes it there with us. I think we can win it here. Obviously, that didn't matter when it came to Ohio State a couple years ago, but you know, again, I think if we can get past the Ohio State hurdle in the regular season, I don't think we should have to worry about it. I really don't. The Buckeyes will still probably be in it some way, but I really don't think it's going to be a major concern. So looking at our schedule. So we have the reigning Sun Belt champs on it. It's kind of funny. So we have Duke again. I think it's just recycling the schedule. So I'm going to change it up a bit here. I'm going to keep a ranked opponent on. I don't know if I'll keep New Mexico State on it, but I'll keep a ranked opponent on. So give me a second and let me build something here. Okay, so this is what I got here. This is how we're rolling with things here. I did switch up and put LSU in here, so maybe New Mexico State was a smarter option, probably because they're a mid-major, but, you know, I figured, you know, why not go with just a fledgling SEC team that's kind of putting something together here. Who knows, that might be a better game than we think it is. I also had Oregon State, who hasn't been very good in the Pac-10. I also added Duke for our final ride. We got to play Duke. And then I added New Mexico instead of New Mexico State because New Mexico is not good. They're not bueno. So I added one really bad team because North Carolina was there, who's also really bad. So I added New Mexico, who's really bad. Added LSU, who should be better than New Mexico State is. Should be more of a game here. And then we could lose to Duke, too. Duke has been decent, but obviously they're on a downturn, I think, right now. So we'll see. And then the only ranked team on our schedule right now, as it stands, is Ohio State. But that is subject to change here. Wisconsin might get ranked a little bit here. Iowa could get ranked and get hot, but that's probably about it. So this is the schedule that we're going to run with, and then again, we'll take one more glance at the coaching strategy. I don't know if there's anything I really want to change. I kind of want to focus more on passing just a little bit more, but I don't really, because Dallas Vincent did great last year, and I don't really want to mess with that. I think it's just about winning when we need to. We might get a little bit more aggressive, maybe, you know, just risk the turnover thing and just get more aggressive offensively. I'm going to keep the sub more where it's at because we have the rotational pieces to do that. I bet if I went down on that, though, everyone would just have better numbers, but we're going to stick with where it's at. And then defensively, yeah, I think we're probably fine here. I don't know if I want to sub as much, though. I think our defense is probably better where it's at. We'll keep the sub more up. We'll just roll with it, and we'll see how it goes. And then, okay, now I'm going to save, and we're going to run the sim. Guys, it's hilarious that in real time, I've literally recreated James Franklin, because we do have a Buckeye problem, but we'll get to it. But Derek Bridges did win Quarterback of the Year, so there's that. We have a Quarterback of the Year award winner. I hope you guys are happy about that. Also, I do want to mention, the Profile 2, I put all my Bama stuff on Profile 1. I'm putting all this Duke and Penn State stuff on Profile 2. I didn't realize I added some Bama trophies to Profile 2, I guess on accident. A lot of our earliest trophies in the Bama series I added to Profile 2. So there's a couple awards that I didn't count in my considerations in some of those later season videos, so the numbers are actually a little different, but just something to note. But we did win Quarterback of the Year, and then running back from Colorado State wins the Heisman. Yeah, it's about what you can expect here, but we finished 11-1 once again here. We're going up against Wake Forest, the Demon Deacons, in the Orange Bowl. We did not have the best of luck the last time we were in the Orange Bowl. I don't think I ever do in this channel. I think I've lost like every Orange Bowl I've played in, unless Bama went like multiple times. I think we've lost every Orange Bowl I've played in, but either way, we are going to be playing Wake Forest, so that is our fate here. So we get pretty much the consolation here because our schedule went about as you would expect. So we absolutely wallop on Oregon State, who actually was pretty decent this year, went 7-5. We were Duke's lone loss. We beat them 28-3, and that we were their one single loss. That's incredible. Oh my gosh. We beat LSU, ended up having a terrible year, a very poor evaluation from the beginning of the season. We also beat up on New Mexico, who actually was also pretty decent. Minnesota we beat very harshly as well. God, our offense is just rolling this year. Wisconsin also pretty bad this year at 6-6. I think they were 2-6 at one point, so they just won out. beat up on Purdue. We gave a safety to Purdue. What on earth? We gave up a safety to Purdue. Beat up on Iowa pretty bad, who was awful. The bottom completely came out this year for the Hawkeyes. And then, of course, we ran into the Buckeyes and just couldn't beat them. Could not beat them. I even went through the roster position by position, and there's a couple positions where the Buckeyes have like a better top guy, but like overall, like depth-wise, they don't. Like they have a 90-something overall receiver, which we don't have, but like they have like an 86 and then like a 70-something, and like ours are 80s all throughout. You know what I mean? Stuff like that. So we were about as good. They have a few positions that are better, like their quarterback and running back are better. So like maybe, but I don't know. I think we were pretty evenly matched. We should have probably won that game, or we could have won this game. It's annoying that we didn't. But whoever's number one did not move all year, because the Buckeyes have been number 2 all season. So whoever's number 1 has not moved. Northwestern, we ended up clobbering. Same with Indiana. Like similar scores in these 3 caboose games here, so that leads to our last year. I thought this would be our final season, but it looks like we're probably going to at least have to play another one. Maybe a lot of our young guys are going to take that final step, and then we'll be able to replace a lot of what we're losing. I don't know, because we are going to lose a lot more this season than we did last year, so we won't be able to just completely run it back like we did this year. I thought this would be the year to do it, but we can't get over the Ohio State hump, man. We have to wait for a year where Ohio State just falls off, and it just hasn't happened yet. So, in typical fashion, I'm going to leave. Actually, I think since this bowl game needs to be played on the same day, I don't know. We're going to leave it. I won't show you guys the national title game. We'll keep it a secret like last time. You guys can guess if you want. But we are going to play Wake Forest in our next thing here. We have the best offense, scoring the most points per game here. Best passing offense, just period. We are that team. We are really good this year. So hopefully I'll see you guys in the next one here when we play the Demon Deacons. We can grab finally our first Orange Bowl, I think, in this series at least. I think we lost the last one, but which I think was Ohio State. I think that was a national championship game, right? I think, right? You guys with me? Anyway, maybe we can wrap the series up here in another season or two. Who knows? But we are going to be playing Wake Forest in the next video. So hope to see you guys there.